A great attitude towards life and the people you live and work with can open doors to amazing opportunities in life, with the potential to strengthen your reputation massively. But a bad attitude can also close a lot of doors. Spotting a bad attitude is so easy, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's far more difficult to recognize a bad one if it's your own. At the corporate conferences I facilitate, I've often asked audiences to call out the names of colleagues with the best can-do attitudes in their company, and no one is allowed to call out their own name. But what follows is always magical. Lots of names are called out. It miraculously and instantly generates a positive attitude amongst the audience. Some people call out the same names that have already been mentioned. And occasionally I invite everyone who had their name called out to stand up to receive an enthusiastic round of applause from the rest of the audience. It's often quite emotional for everyone. But my next comment is actually designed to cut the atmosphere with a knife. I say, I wonder how many of you are thinking, why didn't anyone call out my name? I pause for a moment, then I add, if we all met again in a year's time, what would you need to change or improve about your own attitude from today for your colleagues to want to call out your name too? Well, I go on. There are some people here right now who are saying to themselves, who is this jerk? What a waste of friggin' time this is. Guess what? I know who you are. It's quite easy for me to identify you as well. And I'm now going to say who you are. Are you ready? You've got your arms crossed. You have never seen so many people unfold their arms so quickly. I've received lots of emails from audience members over the years telling me that this 1 5-minute exercise actually changed their lives. For the first time, they realized that it was their own attitudes that needed adjusting. It had never even occurred to them before. As far as they were concerned, it was always somebody else with a bad attitude. So who do you know who goes through life always insisting they have to correct people, for their own good of course, and regularly insisting that they speak to the manager? Some people can go to extraordinary lengths to justify why they feel the need to criticize, blame, correct, improve, point out, or provide feedback and help. They like to say it's because they care, but who do you know who's quick to judge others, yet refuse to question their own opinions and behaviors? So ask yourself how much you appreciate it when others do this to you. It's like pointing a finger at others when the rest of our other fingers are pointing back at ourselves, can you see? So try it yourself. Point at something and see where the rest of your fingers are pointing. Particularly intelligent and judgmental people also have the intellect and vocabulary to be able to rationalize just about anything they already believe. They can invariably prove that others are always wrong. And people like this with strong opinions mistakenly believe that it's a sign of being strong, but not always. A bully thinks they're strong, but bullies often have very low self-esteem and a terrible attitude. One feeds the other. They often believe that making somebody else feel bad or small is the only way to make them feel good and big. But that attitude often turns other people off them. They end up alone, and then they feel more angry and are more likely to take out that bad attitude on those that they live and work with. So, can you be a bit like that? How worthwhile could it be investing at least some time asking yourself how an attitude adjustment might be beneficial to you and how that could help you to be stronger long term? By contrast, a genuinely strong person doesn't feel the need to force their opinions down the throats of everyone that they come into contact with. Your attitude is one of the first things other people always notice about you. A can-do attitude is your most valuable asset. It's been said that thought, attitude, behavior, and result is an ever-increasing circle or outward spiral of impact. By improving what you think, you change your beliefs, and you can change your behavior, and change your behavior, and you change the results in your life. So your attitude is also closely linked to your energy level. You can quickly improve your attitude by increasing your energy. Enthusiasm increases energy, so learn to be more enthusiastic. The price of a bad or unhealthy attitude can be huge, not only to everyone else who's come into contact with you, but to you personally. A friend of mine told me this story. A particular guy always goes to see his son play football, and because he only ever talks about why his ex-wife was so horrible, the other dads wait to see which side of the pitch he goes to. They then go to the opposite one. Now, when you allow your attitude to control you rather than you controlling it, you become someone who's constantly reacting to your own emotions and moods and nothing else. In extreme cases, people will avoid you, like the divorced dad I just mentioned. Toxic people demoralize, demotivate, and force you to question your own abilities. Their pessimism can be highly contagious. They've got a habit of expressing their opinions as if they're facts, and they will say or do just about anything if it helps them feel superior to you. So, avoid toxic people whenever you can. Don't let them inside your head. Never ask them, "What do you think?" If you have to get feedback from such a person, rephrase your question as follows: how can this be improved? And then gently insist they stick to answering that question. Needless to say, if you're the one who consistently demonstrates toxic behavior, you will never be an appealing person until you eradicate those traits. Now, that might sound harsh, but it's also true. Those with unwanted toxic behavior and the desire to improve will benefit even more from strengthening their emotional core. For many, it's taken years of diligent effort for them to achieve world-class status as a negative thinker. If you can identify with this, cleansing yourself of negative thoughts is likely to take a little while. Accept that it will. Before any improvements can take place, you'll have to start with a simple decision that having a positive attitude is something worth having and worth working towards. Who are the tonic people and who are the toxic people in your life? We all have them. Spend more time with the tonic people and much less time with the toxic types. People with a great attitude are not me merchants or eye specialists, people who constantly talk about themselves. If you tend to talk too much about yourself and it's a personal habit you'd like to change, here's a simple way to do it. Every time you meet someone new, in any situation, professionally or personally, ask yourself this simple question: does this person now know more about me than I know about them? And if you consistently find that they know far more about you, perhaps you need to A, learn to shut up, and B, add the following words into your everyday vocabulary. Tell me more about yourself. I'm interested. What do you think about whatever? In fact, ask more questions generally. You'll learn a lot about people, and it's perceived by others as polite and respectful, because it is. Although, don't turn your conversations into the Spanish Inquisition by bombarding people with a stream of interview-style questions. Think of conversation as a ballroom dance. You both have to do the steps, and be careful not to step on your partner's toes. Tonic people, on the other hand, understand the power of encouragement. They make people feel good about themselves. So, in closing this video, focus more of your attention on those with great attitudes. Who are the men and women you know who have one of those? I'd be prepared to bet that they attract people to them like a magnet. They radiate optimism, energy, enthusiasm, and vitality. Optimists tend to be happier, they're more successful and healthier individuals than those with negative attitudes. So spend more time with optimists and make sure you're someone who they would choose to spend time with too. Now, I've quoted Zig Ziglar a few times in this course. Here's another great quote from him about attitude. It's your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude.